They didn't buy a Lamborghini. They didn't quit their job. And they definitely didn't post it on Instagram. When billionaires make their first $1 million, they do something that shocks almost everyone. Because the way you think rich people spend money is exactly why most people never become rich. Let me show you what actually happens. The first million is different. It's not about luxury. It's not about showing off. For most billionaires, it's the most dangerous money they'll ever touch. Why? Because one wrong move can send them right back to zero. So instead of asking, what can I buy? They ask a very different question. How do I make sure this is not the last million? That question changes everything. Take Warren Buffett. When he crossed his first million, he didn't upgrade his lifestyle. He didn't move into a mansion. He didn't change how he lived at all. In fact, decades later, he was still living in the same modest house. Why would someone worth billions live like that? Because to him, the first million wasn't money to spend. It was soldiers to send back into battle. And that mindset shows up again and again. Here's the first surprising place billionaires put their first million. They buy time, not vacations, not yachts. Time. They outsource everything that distracts them from growth. Accountants, lawyers, assistants, bookkeepers. Anything that steals focus gets removed. Because when you're building wealth, time is more valuable than money. Quick question. How many hours a day are you spending on things that don't move your life forward? Billionaires become obsessive about that question early. Next, they do something most people compel. Eatly ignore. They protect the downside. Before trying to make more money, they make sure they can't lose it easily. Insurance, legal structures, separate accounts, risk control. It's boring. It's invisible. And it's the reason they stay rich. Most people chase upside and ignore risk. Billionaires do the opposite. They assume something will go wrong and prepare for it in advance. Because staying in the game beats getting lucky once. Now here's where it gets really interesting. A huge portion of that first million goes into things you can't even see. No logos, no flex, just leverage. They invest in systems, businesses, equity, cash-flowing assets. Things that make money while they sleep. And no, not because it sounds cool, because they understand a brutal truth. If your income depends on your presence, you are replaceable. The first million is used to escape that trap. Let's talk about what they don't do. They don't inflate their lifestyle. No sudden luxury apartments. No expensive friend circles. No flashy habits. Why? Because lifestyle inflation is a silent killer. Every upgrade becomes a new baseline. Every new comfort becomes a new expense. And suddenly, that million feels small. Billionaires delay lifestyle rewards until their money can pay for it forever. Not once, forever. That patience is rare. And it's everything. Here's a bold statement most people hate hearing. Your first million isn't for enjoyment. It's for positioning. It's a bridge between survival and freedom. And most people burn it trying to feel rich instead of becoming rich. Ask yourself this. Would you rather look rich for 5 years or be wealthy for 50? Billionaires answer that question early. Another place that money goes? Learning at a high level. Private mentors. Elite networks. Direct access to people ahead of them. Not motivational courses. Not random seminars. Real proximity to experience. They pay to shorten decades into years. Because ignorance is expensive, and the fastest way to compound wealth is to compound decision quality. One good decision beats 10 lucky ones. Now let's talk about ego. Or more specifically, how billionaires keep it under control. The first million creates temptation, validation, attention, status. But the smartest ones stay quiet. No announcements, no noise. Because attention attracts problems, and silence protects momentum. They move like they're still hungry, because they are. Here's something almost no one tells you. Many billionaires are more stressed at their first million than at their first billion. Why? Because early money is fragile. Markets change. Businesses fail. People betray. So they become paranoid in a good way. They plan for worst-case scenarios. They assume success is temporary unless defended. That mindset is uncomfortable, but it's also why they win long-term. Eventually, something shifts. The money starts working harder than they do. Cash flow stabilizes. Assets mature. Opportunities start coming to them. Only then do they upgrade their lifestyle, not as a reward, but as a byproduct. Luxury becomes irrelevant when freedom is guaranteed, and that's the real flex. So if you're chasing your first big win, remember this. The difference between people who get rich once and people who stay rich is what they do with that first million. One group spends it to impress. The other uses it to escape dependence forever. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people never even get a second chance. Now imagine this. What if the habits that create a billionaire's first million are completely different from the habits that create their 10th? Because they are. And that shift is where most people fail. In the next video, we break down how billionaires think after they're already rich, and why copying their lifestyle without copying their mindset keeps people stuck. If this changed how you see money, make sure you're here for that. Because the real game doesn't start at 1 million. It starts after.